Hello, my name's Lou. This is a quick introduction to what I'm calling the For the One challenge. This is a challenge where you have to answer one question about your faith in less than 1 minute and share it with at least one other person. The question for 2019 is, why did you decide to become a Christian? Earlier this year, God really challenged me to become more proactive in sharing my faith. I would not call myself an evangelist. I know people who find it really easy to approach a stranger on a street and share with them their faith about Jesus, but I am not one of those people. There's a story in Exodus 4 where Moses is asking God how he can convince the Israelites about the reality of his encounter with God, and God says to him, "What is that in your hand?" For Moses, it was his staff, and God gave him the ability to use that ordinary piece of equipment to do amazing miracles. For many of us, I expect what we have in our hand is either a phone or a tablet device. So my challenge to you is, will you let God take what's in your hand and use it to show others what he's done for you in your life? Why have I called it the For the One challenge? Back in the summer, God led me to read the parable of the lost sheep. You can find it in Luke 15, verse 3-7. Verse 4 says, "Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he can find it?" This challenge is about learning to step out of your comfort zone. It's easy to talk about Jesus when you're at church with other people who agree with you. The challenging part is to go outside of the church to talk to those who are lost. That is, those who are looking to connect with God but don't yet know how to get there. So if you're interested in joining in, here are some tips for completing the challenge. Tip number 1, use whatever technology you have to hand. You don't have to film your response to the question. You can use text if you want to, even a handwritten letter if you really want to go old school. But that being said, I think video is really good for connecting with people, letting them see the real you. Of course, if you get a chance to speak to someone in person, then that's even better. Use whatever technology you have available. You don't have to record your video in one go. I use an editing app to get rid of all my pauses and mistakes. Your finished answer needs to be less than 1 minute, but that doesn't mean you have to record it all in one go, speaking non-stop, start to finish. Tip number 2, make it personal. The point of this challenge is for you to share how God has made a difference in your life. Choose something from your story. Don't worry about fitting the whole gospel message into 60 seconds. Choose one thing that is important to you and focus on that. You can always tell them more in a follow-up discussion later on. Tip number 3, watch your language. By this I mean try not to use too much Christian jargon. If you're about to use a word that you've only ever heard used in church, then the chances are that no one outside of church is going to have a clue what you're talking about. On that note, be careful which metaphors you use. You may well be overcome with joy because you've been washed in the blood of the Lamb, but to most people out there in the world, that's just going to sound creepy. Remember, you only have a minute, so you don't have time to explain. Keep it simple. Tip number 4, speak clearly. If you don't have a microphone, then make sure that you're close enough to your phone or your camera so that it can pick up your voice. Speak clearly and don't rush. This is not a competition to see how many words you can fit into a minute. Tip number 5, tag some friends. Challenges like this are always easier to do when you can see other people doing them too, and it makes it more fun as well. Tip number 6, be kind to yourself. We're all on a learning journey. Some of us need to learn how to share our faith in a way that other people will understand. For some of us, the challenge will be speaking out in public. For others, the real challenge will be learning how to use the technology to record a video. Remember, this is not a challenge to see who can produce the best video. The answer that you come up with to the question may be only one word. Go ahead and share that. Let's really encourage each other as we step out and share what God means to us with those around us. As I said at the start, I am definitely not an evangelist, but I do have a camera, a voice, and a story to share. Will you choose to accept the challenge to share your story and let those around you know what God has done for you? If you want to take part and you feel comfortable sharing your story with the rest of us, then please do use the hashtag #ForTheOne when you post on social media. Once again, the question for 2019 is, why did you decide to become a Christian?